Fuck it. So I'm just gonna mouth diarrhea a bunch of stuff that I'm currently working through. And the biggest thing that's on my mind right now is performance. Being not entirely honest or like performing the truth rather than what the truth simply is when you live it. Because the truth, when you simply live it, for someone like me, doesn't feel like anything remotely on the radar of good enough. And it feels like imposter syndrome is resonating right now, or just sounding out in my mind. But in, well, I won't say the last relationship, but like the last girl that I dated, it feels like that's a lot of what was going on. Like, I was just so happy and enthused, just like enveloped in the feeling of love, that I was letting responsibilities go by the wayside. And right, I was getting these like what I like to call spiritual notifications, these like intuitive reminders or suggestions, really, of like, hey, you know, you should leave now, even though it's so good and so great to be in this moment with her. You should leave now, and it'll create like magnetism. It'll be very polarizing in a good way, because there's like more want and need to see each other and be with each other when you're apart, and there'll be more interest in getting to know each other. But what ended up happening was that I just wanted to stay and kind of milk the moment, milk the love that was there. And it's really frustrating, because I don't want to think of it in the like American economic perspective, because it does relate in terms of like availability and scarcity and supply and demand, right? If the supply was just always available, then the demand for it goes down. And it just makes it feel like so fucking unattractive, really like repulsive in a way, to kind of have love or the dynamic of a relationship to work out in that, in like an economic kind of way. And I think a person could say like this, just the way that I'm understanding it, and maybe I'm not liking that, and I could find a new way to reframe it, but it just resonates too truthfully to see it from any other kind of way. So there's that on the one hand, and on the other hand, there's this there's like the performance aspect of being like the best version of myself. And like, I don't know if I resented myself. I mean, that's what's coming up, is that I resented myself for having succeeded, for having, it's almost like the resentful part of me, what I came to see today as like my inner fat kid, or like the part of me who was fat, has body issues, body dysmorphia, kind of twisting the truth of what was going on or how I was perceiving things. Because to that kid, to that part of me, there is a belief that I do not deserve essentially to get what I want or who I want, or to be in a relationship with someone who's very like physically attractive, as well as mentally and emotionally, as was the case. And yeah, there was that, what feels like a self-defeating aspect of myself, kind of like viewing the happiness that I was experiencing as a disconfirming experience of what, you know, fat kid me was believing or was holding on to as factual. Yeah, it's just super frustrating. And that is super frustrating. Mind those filler words like just, or those self-diminishing words like just. It was just this. No, it was this. And so in that performing or performance aspect, let's call it, it wasn't really a performance, because that's just what I was experiencing at the moment, and it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like I was reading lines, or if anything, it felt as though I was very happy to play my part in that dynamic, in that moment, in life in general. I was very happy to be alive. My part was a happy me, and it just feels like there's this part of me that's saying that's not really who you are. Who you are is this fat, lonely, miserable kid who hates himself and others and self-isolates. And so what I'm getting at is, like, there's with the performance aspect, is that there is that happy version of me, of ourselves, that we get to just live as and be. But there also is the fullness of that spectrum of self that, you know, for me, there's the happy me, the loving, thoughtful, you know, doting partner who gets to be in that happiness and take that to others, to my family, to my friends. And there also is within that same person the fat, lonely, depressed kid. And it's not a matter of being in any kind of binary or dualistic mindset, rather just sitting with both of these, let's say, ends of the same spectrum. And in spiritual circles, or in the spiritual community, there's a lot of talk or reference to a higher self. And I think that gets confused. It gets confused as to, like, we should cast out one, or amputate, or section off, remove, work out of one, to then, like, permanently, full-time, be another, be the higher self, the socially desirable self. And maybe it's something that we can expand and contract toward. But I think a higher self as it uh, as it relates to like its original definition from the east of Tao or Zen or wherever. A higher self is the all-inclusive self. To be like, yeah, okay, I do have the fat kid mentality tendencies, and I can also see, feel, be in, and work to cultivate a greater sense of who I am when I love life and love myself and love the part that I get to play. Because we can't fully accept ourselves if we're not fully accepting ourselves. And when we don't fully accept ourselves, that's when we start hiding parts of ourselves when we attract someone that we really like. And so I had attracted someone that I really liked, and there was like, yeah, just wanting to be in those moments with her and milk them, which was like a scarcity mindset, like not a mindset of abundance, and a reluctance to return to the other aspects of my life, which weren't even that bad. Like, things have gotten much worse since then, just with life circumstances and happenings, like people passing away, life moving forward, and like being there and the grieving, and relationships ending. Yeah, just a bunch of shit. It's 2020, so that seems to be, all you need to say these days. It's like, yeah, 2020. But with that in mind, I mean, there is so much clarity and understanding gleaned from looking at things in retrospect and learning from the past. I wonder if there's a tipping point to where, like, you fully accept yourself and all the good and bad and all the bad, all of the stuff, the socially undesirable things that come part and parcel with each and every one of us. If there's a tipping point to, like, just having so much experience as yourself, as your character, as your avatar, as your persona, identity, ego, and higher self, that you can really manage and you can really manage and communicate that to someone else in a very healthy, constructive, and way, in a relationship where that's what co-regulation, not just self-regulation, but co-regulation looks like. I'm still sour. I'm still so sour that I fucked it up with that one girl. But you know what? Fuck. Yeah, you gotta be able to laugh at it, roll with the punches and whatnot. I hope this is helpful in some way. And if it was, like and subscribe. Much love. Peace.